Okay, I have started recording. Here are the numbers down here rolling forward. Here's my audio. I'm showing you all of this because I thought you might want this program as well. This is called OBS. Just simply search OBS. I have, version 27.2.3? Wow. 64-bit. If you are a Windows person, take the 64-bit. Unless there's some reason why you won't take the 64-bit. What's great about this, it does a lot of other things, but its big selling point to me at least is the fact that when you're looking at your desktop, when this is running, it records everything that's on your desktop. So when I minimize this, whoop, there is the desktop of my studio computer. Well, my name is Joe Burns, and I've been asked by the fine people in the iHub to create a basic audio editing tutorial. And what they want me to do it on is this program here. This is Audacity. It's a freebie. And as far as I know, that's the latest version right there. But it's a freebie. You can go get it. It's for, as far as I know, it's for Windows, Mac. There it is right there. Linux and other operating systems. Yeah, it's a freebie. It's good. I don't know what to tell you. A lot of times these freebies don't have as much as the real expensive stuff, and that's true. It doesn't. But for free, it's a very good program. And I'm going to show you the general basics of how to use it and how to record and how to edit audio. So back to the Audacity interface. Here it is. If you open your Audacity and it doesn't look like this, what I would suggest you do is go up under View and then go to Go up under View, go to Toolbars, and you can see I have just about every single one of them chosen. If you don't want the scrub toolbar, you don't need it. I don't know that I ever used it. Spectral share. Other than that, I got them all. So everything that it can offer is either up here or down here. Let me show you some things you probably should know and be able to recognize. Here are what a lot of people call your cassette buttons. Pause, play, stop, go to the front, go to the back, and record. You'll be interested in this record because what you're going to want to do, and usually people do this on a laptop. So if you're using a laptop, you're going to want to come over to this grouping of items. This is a single toolbar here. It's a grouping of items. This is how the sound is played with. I have it on MME, but I know a lot of people like this Windows Wasapi. If you're using a Macintosh, the last time I used a Mac, it only gave me one choice. Choose that. This is your input. You see the microphone right here? This is your input. Now, I'm using a program called Soundcraft, but if you're using your laptop, you should see your laptop in there. That should be the default, meaning it wants to use the little microphone that's in your laptop, so you can just simply talk down to your laptop. If you want to buy a microphone with a USB input, what you'll want to do is, what I suggest is shut the computer down, put in the USB microphone because it's going to have all its installation files in the USB. Fire the computer back up, it will recognize it, and it will then be part of what the computer knows, and then come up here and simply click that and look for it. It will either say the name of your microphone or it will say simply USB. And again, I'm using a program called Soundcraft. This tells you whether you want to record a stereo track or a mono track. I'm of the opinion anytime you bring audio into a program, it's going to be in stereo. So go ahead and record your vocals in stereo. It just keeps everything, in my mind, straightforward. Then you got to worry about how you get sound out. Again, you could probably just simply leave this alone on a laptop and it would by default choose your laptop speakers. I have a bunch of outs here, but I have it running out of some high definition speakers, which should, I'm going to press record here, which should be able to be picked up on this microphone. It's the way I use the system. I don't have it coming back through my board. I do that with something else. But there, I've recorded it. Let's go back to the beginning, press play, which should be able to be picked up on this microphone. It's the way I use the system. I don't have it coming back through my board. I do. All right, there you go. That's as basic an idea of how to get audio into it. You can also, and I'm just going to close this, if you click here, it's wonky. It'll go away, but it's kind of in the background still running. If you want audio to go away for good, I have found you come up here and you choose close. It's always going to say this to you. Even if you just saved it, it's always going to say that. I don't know why. So, nope, I don't want to do that. And it refreshes itself up. Not only can you record going into it with your vocals, but if you come up under File, you can bring in a piece of audio. This is simply a drum track that I created for a demo. Look, that's really small. I mean, look. Oh, man. Okay, I like the drums, but I mean, it's really small. I can't see it. So in order to see it, I have to use these. These are the zoom in, zoom out, but most people call them the magnifying glasses. If you click plus, it gets bigger. If you click minus, it gets smaller. Now, all of these do things as well, but we're in an introductory tutorial here. So if you make it bigger, this starts to become more obvious. If you have it back here, see, it's kind of like a snake. It just has some markings, and this looks taller than this. But if you start to get into it, it starts to become individual elements. See, this is a strike, and then the sound wears off. This is a strike, but the sound doesn't wear off as long. See what I'm talking about here? This is a good strike, hard strike, but this isn't as high. It isn't as tall. So it's not as loud. So I'm going to back this up to the beginning. What I'm going to show you, what I'm trying to get across to you, is the simple idea of reading the waveform. You should be able to read the waveform, meaning I see that, that's a word. I see that, that's a drum hit. I see that, that's a guitar, that kind of thing. And we're going to deal mainly with voice in this, but I wanted to show you because this makes it so obvious with the bang, 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 bang. Listen, listen. Now look at it back. See what I'm talking about? You can start to simply read the waveform. Now, let's try it with vocal. It's a whole lot easier. So I'm going to close that up. Go away. Refresh. Press record. I'm simply going to talk. I said that some things were tall and some things were low. Well, look at the size of my waveform there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a lot softer. You see how the waveform got small? And then I'm going to talk much louder. You see how the waveform got tall? Now, when we look back at this, you start to see these things in blobs. This right here, this is a word. This right here, this is a word. This is a word. This space right here, nothing's being said. This space right here, nothing's being said. Let's start right here. Read the waveform. Talk, talk, talk. This is where I get really soft, and then I get really loud, and then I'm back to normal. Watch, watch. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a lot softer. See? You see how the waveform got small? Yeah. And then I'm going to talk much louder. You see how the waveform got tall? So when you looked at the drum, it was possible to see each strike. Bap, bap, bap. And you could see that one strike was much louder. Why? Because the waveform was taller. If a strike was softer, the waveform was smaller. Same thing here. Here's the vocal. This is about what you want. Somewhere in this. Don't go much bigger than this. This is loud. But your waveform should be about like that when you're recording your voice. This is way too soft right here. But each one of them is a word. So let me sort of just highlight this one in the same way. And by the way, I say this to my students all the time. Don't get wrapped around the axle that this is audio. It works the same way as if you are highlighting, cutting, pasting, any of that stuff inside of a Word document or a Google Doc. It works the same way. See, I'm here. Now, I can click this and all of that, but this is what I consider my dock. It's the selection tool. I can play with that, and there's a couple of the here. It's not, for what we're doing, they're not needed. But once I am docked, what I have is a movable space where instead of just, I could do this in a Word document, and I would hear just that part, and I can hit the delete key. Watch, delete. Oh, I don't want to do that. Control Z, undo, and it's back. That blob is a word, so let's grab that blob. And play it. Talk. See? Just highlight the stuff you want. So what good does that do me? Well, watch this. I'm going to close this. I'm going to record. Now I'm recording my lecture, and it's going so well, and all of a sudden I get up, a tickle in my throat, and I need to get back to my teaching. Okay? You don't want those things in there. Here, listen. And it's going so well, and all of a sudden I get up, a tickle in my throat. Great. Let's go in here. Don't get them nice and tight. Don't right up against each other and all that. Leave a little bit of space. There's space between words when we talk. I've got all that highlighted. Goodbye. Now let's listen back. Oh well, and all of a sudden I get up, a tickle in my throat. Ooh, that's still a little tight. Ooh, hang on a second here. I'm going to give you a little bit more space. See the dead space right here? See the dead space right there? Now let's get rid of that. Let's see if that sounds better. Oh well, and all of a sudden I get up, a tickle in my throat. There you go. See, that's cleaner. All right. Well, and all of a sudden I get up, a tickle in my throat. Beautiful. And I need to... That was gross. Get back to my teeth. All right. Let's go in here. Hike that out. Pow. Gone. Let's see what it sounds like. A tickle in my throat, and I need to get back to my teaching. See? If you're typing along in Word and you inadvertently add an additional few letters or a word, just go in, highlight it, and get rid of it. It's that simple. And it works the same way here. Highlight it, get rid of it. And the idea is, as far as I know, you can record next to forever on this thing. I've done entire hour-long lectures when we were in COVID, and it worked just fine. I'll give you a little hint. What I would do when I'm, let me close this, when I'm, there we go, when I'm lecturing and make mistakes like I just did there, I don't want to stop and start over again and stop and start over again, stop and start over again. What I want to do is put a marker. I want to put a flag where the mistake is. So what I would normally do, and when I record my podcast, I do this as well. If I'm talking if I'm Now, I know that's a dumb sound. I understand that's a dumb sound. However, look at it in the waveform. Look at that. That sends up a flag that tags that, hey, there's a mistake in here. So there's no need to stop. So when you're going along and you're talking and you make a mistake, you stop, give yourself a second or two. So you want this dead space so you can make your edit. Woo! Or some people go, so that you'll see the claps right in a row. It's blatantly not a vocal in there. And it's just that. Copy, copy, paste, paste, all that kind of stuff. Now, for the sake of argument, you've, I'm sure, in Word, copied something and then pasted it. Well, let's do that. I'm simply going to copy this. You can do this with keyboard commands, but edit, cut or copy. If you cut it, it goes away. Boink. I'm going to put my pointer over here, and I'm going to paste it. Bink. Don't get wrapped around the axle that this is audio. It works the same way. You can just highlight, copy, paste. Now, look, if you walked away just knowing those things, it's probably enough for you to record your voice and create whatever podcast you want. So let me give you just a few more little things that you can look into. Let me close this up. All right. If I want to bring something in, for example, I have recorded da-da-da-da-da, yada-yada-yada-yada, da-da-da-da-da-da. And now what I want to do is play for you a piece of audio that was recorded earlier, okay? I have my audio. What I want to do is come into File, and I want to import it. Yes, I can open it. But here's the thing. You're about to create multiple tracks, and you want Audacity to realize that those multiple tracks all are going to be saved into a single file at the end. You may have 30 tracks here, but at some point in time, you're going to then save it, and you want those 30 tracks to mix down into a single track. See what I'm getting at? So you have to import things. So I'm going to import a piece of audio. Let's go down here, and I will get the full instrument of what I played for you later. Oh, look at that. There it is. It's humongous. Goodness me. Well, I want to listen to this. But if I listen to it, I'll hear this. And I don't want that. So I am going to mute this. I'm going to mute it. By the way, one more thing. If those things seem too big for you, look, you just put your pointer between them, pull them up. Come down here. I'll pull this up as well. Woo. There you go. So I want to hear this. All right? So I want to mute this. And this will then play. So I'm going to play it. Here's that drum again. But that's not the part I want to play for the people. I want to play when the whole band comes in. See? See how this is thicker? Listen, here it comes. There you go. Now let's go back here again. Go back here again. Now there's some other instruments in there, but you see how that's got open space? Look how thick this is. This is the whole band coming in. And go. Oh yeah. There you go. Now, it's again the idea of read the waveform. Now, see how small this is? And well, remember, let's get up here. Let's do this. Okay. This is where I wanted to start. Here. Beautiful. There, let me move this out of the way. There is a strike. Do you see that? That's a strike. So I'm going to put my pointer right in front of it. Okay? I can either A, just simply highlight it and press delete, and it will do it. Or what you can do, I'm going to undo it again. I'm going to Control Z, bink. You can put your pointer where you want it to make a, stop that, where you want it to make a point, boink. Then it's Control I. Why I? I think it means insert, but I don't know. Control I, bink. See how it made a split? Now this is a piece of audio, and this is a piece of audio. By the way, at the top of the audio pieces, see how that becomes a hand? And you can just push it out of the way. I don't want this. Well, you can highlight it and get rid of it, or you can click twice on it and get rid of it. Gone. Now watch what happens. I'm going to unmute this. Okay, talk, talk, talk. Now what I want to do is play for you a piece of audio that was recorded earlier. Okay. Wait, where's the audio? Wait a minute, where's the audio? Oh, there it is. No, we can't have that. Put your hand up there. Pull it over. Now, listen. Oh, that was recorded earlier. Okay. Ooh. Look at that. Wow. So all you've done is simply added another track by going in and importing it, and you have created something that can be moved around. Let's say I move this in here. Now I'm going to talk over it. That was recorded earlier. Okay. Neato. Here's a question. What if I want the music over top like that? I want the vocals over top. I'm going to play it for you. Listen, I will be gobbled up. The music is far louder than me reading, but listen, watch. It was recorded earlier. Okay. I'm not even there. Let me play a little bit more for you. Listen to this. Now what I want to do is play for you. Hey, I'm not even there. Okay, let's fix that. Here is something that will make you louder or softer. Louder or softer. It's called the gain. Everybody thinks that you just keep making things louder and louder, but listen what happens when I start to bring the gain up way too high. And now what I want to do is play for you a piece of audio that would... Too much is going to make it distort. Get back there to zero. Get back there to zero. Okay, there we go. Rather than immediately, first thing out of your brain, making something louder, try going in and making the things that are loud softer. And the reason I say that is because you don't want anything to distort. But then again, at the end, if you create it by pulling down and it's a little soft, you can then take the entire thing and make it louder. And it won't distort. So watch. We'll start from here. Go. Yada 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 da 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 da. And now what I want to do is play for you a piece of audio that was recorded earlier. Okay? When you hear those commercials on TV where somebody is talking and there's music behind them, this is exactly what they did. They played with the gain. Just remember, at all points in time when you play with the gain, you want to start pulling down long before you start pushing up. Make sense? Lovely. If you're interested, this LR, this is what's known as a pan. I'm going to mute the audio here, the song, and I'm going to play the vocal and I'll pan it one way or the other. If you're dealing with stereo, that means you have a left speaker and a right speaker, a left headphone and a right headphone. So I'll play it and start doing the left right. Da 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 yada 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 da 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 to the right. And now what I want to do is play for you a piece of audio that was recorded earlier. Go over there. Yeah, if there's no reason, stop that. If there's no reason to pan, I don't know that I do much of it. When would you use it, say, in a podcast? If it's one vocal, you want the vocal right down the center, which is where it sits. See how it's right down the center? Let's say you have a vocal, then a second vocal. Well, it's often a nice thing to take and just move it a little bit off to the left, about 20%. And then take the other vocal and move it off to the right, about 20%. And all it does is it splits them a little bit and gives what they call an aural reality. It's a reality equivalent to if you were sitting in a room looking at the two people. This person's over here, over the left, and this person's over here to the right. Don't do a lot of it so they're, at the other opposite ends of a table screaming at each other, but just a little bit off to the left, a little bit off to the right, 20%. 20% is super duper good. So let's say I'm going to put this back to zero. Go back to the center. You go back to the center as well. Let's say this is everything you want. I will unmute the music, and what I want to do is play for you a piece of audio that was recorded earlier. Okay? It's going to play just for a little bit, and that's where I want it to end. Right about there. I want it to end right about there. Now, obviously, you'll make a more specific choice, but I'm going to split this. Now, again, I could just highlight it the whole way out and it'll work like a dream. Or go ahead and stop that. Go ahead, put your mark wherever you want it. Control I think it means insert. Now you've got two different pieces of audio. See how I can move that away? If you click twice on it, it highlights. It's a shortcut. If you want, you can do that. But if you click twice on it, it highlights. Bye-bye. Gone. I just hit the delete key. That's it. Now, we have yet another problem. If I do this, listen to how the music ends. That's too abrupt. That's too abrupt. We're at the end of the show. What I want to do is have it do a nice fade out. A nice fade out. Okay. I'm going to say, well, I want the fade to start by my last word. Here's my last word. Read the waveform. There's my last word. So I'm going to highlight it all the way to the end. If you want, you can go a little bit past it. Highlight it to the end. Now I have to tell the computer that this is where my fade will be. There are so many of these effects. See them all? It just goes out and out and out and da 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 da. If you find the second grouping, it's called fading. It'll do all kinds of fades, but this is just a fade out. I just want it to fade out. There we go. Go up under effect, fading, fade out. Pop, and it fades out. I'm going to play it again for you. Listen. Earlier, okay? And away it goes. Neato. To which you say, if I can do a fade out, can't I do a fade in? Yepper. So I'm going to highlight. That's where I want my fade in to start and stop. Effect, fading, stop that. Fade in. Boop. And here's your audio. Listen, listen. Get up there. Get up there. Get up there. Here we go. Fades right in. There you go. We're at full volume. And when it gets to the end, we will be at lowest volume. Yeah, neat. So you can do all of these things, and I can tell you that a little fade in, a little fade out usually is really nice when you're going from piece to piece. I could simply go talk, 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 and then the music just blast in. But putting a little fade on front of it, watch, listen. Oh, you stop that. Click, go. A piece of audio that was recorded earlier. Okay. Hear it come up underneath. That's so that it shows a little more attention to detail. Now, could I'm going to do a bunch of Control Z's, a bunch of undos. Bink, bink. Okay, could I take this and have it start kablooing? Here you go, watch this. Kablooey. Watch, watch, watch. Earlier. Okay. And then it comes in. Watch earlier. Okay. Yeah, sure, you could do it. But what if we put like a little fade in? So the effect, fading, fade in. Ooh, going to use this little handle again. And this, stop that. This is where it will be at full volume. So at the end of my talking, that's where my full volume is. And it just comes up underneath you. It's just a neat little effect. Here we go. Audio that was recorded earlier. Okay. There it is. Okay, we have it. It's everything I've ever wanted. It's gorgeous. I wish I could do it better, but I possibly could not. There's no way. All right. It's done. You have maybe just those two tracks, maybe you just have your vocals, but you have things that you're playing with. And I probably should point this out. Here's where we are. That's the end of it. See, it's about 25 seconds long. Let me get right to the end of it. It is. It's 25 seconds on the money. Now see the number up here? There's 20. It's 20 seconds, blah, blah, blah. Just letting you know there is a timeline on it, and it's down here. You can do selections here, but for the purposes of what we're doing now, not much you ought to worry about. Okay? So it's everything I want. I think it's just the greatest thing in the world. Well, look, we got this piece of music in here by importing it. So if we imported it and then imported another piece of music and imported another piece of music, so I have 20 tracks. If I imported them all, what do I want to do? Well, I want to export them. File, export. Do you want an MP3? Would you like a wave? Would you like a... Some people pronounce this oog. Some people pronounce it og. It is another... MP3 is really a compression thing. A piece of audio is 100 megabytes. When you turn it into MP3, it's about 11th the size of those 100 megabytes. So it would be 11 megabytes. So it's just a different way of doing it. MP3 became ridiculously popular, but if you listen to Spotify, you're listening to OOG. You're listening to that. All right, I'm going to export this as, if you know what you know what MP3 is. It's what all the kids listen to their music in. But Wave is full format. If you get a chance, do it in Wave. Wave always... To me, it sounds better, but it doesn't matter. So I have done it. It says Wave. Where do I want to put it? I can put it in any one of these places. I'm just going to put it on my desktop. I'm going to give it a name. The greatest, Greatest, audio. There you go. The greatest audio. Save. Your tracks will be exported down to one stereo file. Yeah, that's what I want. That's why I exported it. Boom. This will come up. What is this? Well, it's metadata. If you're interested, you could put in your artist name, your track title, your album number, that kind of stuff. The idea is if you've ever plugged your phone into your car as it's playing, there's a picture, there is the name of the artist, the name of the album, name of the song, and all of that is metadata. And this is where you fill it in. If you don't fill it in, you'll get no metadata. I next to never do it. So, okay, bink. But where is it? Why don't I see it? Well, let's make this small, There's my desktop again. Ooh, there it is. I saved it to my desktop. Right there. Clickety-click. Play, you. Da-da-da-da-da, yada-yada-yada-yada, da-da-da-da-da-da. Listen to it fade up. Listen. And now what I want to do is play for you a piece of audio that was recorded earlier. Okay? Oh, that's gorgeous. That's gorgeous. Yep. It just turns it into a single piece of audio. Here's the two audios that I brought in right there, and I saved it to the desktop. I pretty much save everything to the desktop just out of habit, and then once it's here, I then put it where I want it. Obviously, you don't have to do that. It's just the way I do it. So now you have the basics of Audacity. I'm going to close this out again. When you get the program, install it. If you have a USB microphone, shut your computer off, plug in the USB, start it back up. The microphone will install itself. Set up this here. By the way, did you notice that here is a recording level and here is a playback level? So if I record something, you see the level? What you don't want is all the red. You don't want that. What you want is something about like this. You jump around 12, 6 now and again. But when you play it back, you are then over here. Watch, watch. What you don't want is all the red. You don't want you don't want that. Yeah, it gets pretty weird. So that's just the basic idea. Record your voice. Edit. Pull something out. I don't want this. I'm just going to highlight it and press delete. Gone. It's a little bit of a skill. And by the way, if you made a mistake, Control-Z. It's a little bit of a skill to make the edit so that the space between the words is correct and it doesn't sound like you're making too many edits real close to one another. You don't want that. And it's a bit of a skill. You'll have to play around with it a little bit. Once it's done, hey, I want to bring in some music. Okay, file, import. Why? Because you import everything else. I don't know. Where is it here? Now let's just do the drums. Bink. There it is. Now, if I want, I could simply put my pointer here, Control I, hit split, click, click, and just delete. Bang. But that's so small. Yeah, I know. Go ahead. Here, use these things. Cool. As I'm listening to it, one might be too loud, so we'll play it. Play you. Oh, it's at the end. Oopsie. To record something, you see the level? What you don't want is all the red. You don't want that. What you want is something about like this. If it's not what you want, well, then pull this back a little bit. Here's your gain. Pull it back a little bit. You also have left and right. And when you're done, click, export it. Export it. Wave or MP3, whichever you'd like. Unless you want to go into OGG, it's fine with me. Remember the fade outs too? Fade outs are up there. You highlight it and go up under Effect, Fading, Fade in, Fade out. Now, with just what you know, you can start to expand and expand and expand. It's digital. Try it. Highlight something. Go up under Effects and just, for no reason whatsoever, put distortion on it. Why? I don't know. See what it sounds like. For no reason whatsoever. Change the pitch. Make yourself sound like what are they? Chipmunks. Why? I don't know. So there you go. That's as basic as I can give it to you. If you're interested, let the people at the iHub know, and I will come back and I'll do an advanced on how to manipulate the audio further, mostly effects. And if you really, really want, I'll come back and show you how to actually mix down into a song. But you got to tell the iHub you want it. All right, back to OBS. Okay, how long did that go? 36, that's not bad. Thank you for your attention. Bye-bye.